Good day, everybody. I'm going to show you today how to get started with Python, how to install it, where to find some of the materials. Let me start by, first of all, going to the different IDEs. So Python has got its own website. Just want to go back there, the python.org website. There you will be able to find all documentation concerning Python, including installation files. You can see that the files are ready for download. Go to the download section. You can go and get all the releases. You'll see the latest release is Python 3.9. If you click on it, it would then, and I don't have 3.9 on my machine, I would then be able to open it, and you can see my you have options there: install now or custom install. It includes the pip and the IDE. That's what you want. So you go and you say yes, and then you're installing Python 3.9, and it is for free, so you don't have to pay for it. It's open source, so meaning that development's done by the community. You can also choose to donate if you want to. And it takes a bit of time. While it's doing it, I can show you some of the other sites. It's done. And what you also have is you can get Python from PyCharm. So JetBrains is the developer of it. So JetBrains.com. There you can choose between the professional edition and the community edition. They also have education tools. I think you do have to pay for them, and you need to get licenses. You can get for personal use or home use. You get some of their material. While I'm at it, I just want to see how far my Python installation is, and it was done successful. And now if you want to get the Python IDE, you're going to go Python .9. You would see there's all sorts of information there. There's the there's the IDE, which I want to load. That's where I program. There are manuals that you can use and online documentation. I'm going to click on 3.9 and it has installed. I then can go and select a new file. So now I'm ready to write my program. And effectively, I'm going to go print, which is a standard command, a built-in command, and I'm going to go hello world. All programmers understand. You would see that the inverted commas is double, or you can do single, as long as you're consistent in the beginning and the end. It means the same. Just to show you what I mean, if I want to do print to screen, hello world, with single inverted commas, then it would show that, and then I can run. I need to obviously save it first, so I can give it a name. So I'm going to go lesson 1, which is getting started, and voila, there is my output, hello world, for the IDE. If I want to switch back to the code, there's the code. I can also do this, make the two small, put the two windows next to each other. That is from the IDE that comes from Python itself. The PyCharm IDE looks like this. It's got basically the same functionality. You can create a new project, you can run the project, debug the project. Now, in this instance, I'm going to go again with print hello world. And then I would be able to run it. And I've run it, and it gives me an error because it's case sensitive. You will see it at the bottom. That's the whole idea of the IDE. It will tell you where your mistakes are. It's on line 1. So I would be able to see it, and then there it is. Now, what is important is that you also understand in the environment that it's in. I'm going to go back to the main part of it. So you can either use PyCharm or the Python IDE, which you've installed. I then also want to show you some of the learning materials. You can go to schools, and I use quite a bit of the schools, www.freeschools.com, which have got lots of Python learning material. It explains to you syntax. Now, syntax is the way that you would write your program. It's almost the language of the program. It's the rules of how to write the program. You can see that it is important that you utilize either the inverted or the text, and you put the text in between your lines, and then you would get the hello world command. Now, what I wanted to do is it's also important to understand indentation. Now, indentation is that the program does not allow you to write sub conditions on the same level as the main condition. Now, to give you an example, if I do a if x is, and I just need to declare x is 5. So if x is bigger than 5, then print x is greater than 5. So I have to do that indentation, and I'm going to make x 6 just to make it bigger than 5. I'm going to run it. So it's important. You will see that the program is working because the indentation is right. The sub code cannot be at the same level as the condition itself. So if I add another one, if x is smaller than 7, then print x is smaller than 7. And what you effectively would have is that, first of all, I need to fix my errors. What you would have is, if I run it, I would have a condition, and then I need to have an indent, and then I would have a sub-condition. So that is quite important, that I have a condition and a sub-condition, and that they are at different levels. So that is the next important concept. Just want to go back to schools. It's important that if I want to add comments, that the comments are preceded by a hash. So if that would be ignored then by the compiler, and it would not be regarded as code. So here I've got a hash, and I say this is a test, and you will see that the program would cry it out, so it would ignore that, and you can use that to describe the logic behind after, I mean at the bottom. And as we go through the different coding lessons, you will get the hang of the discipline. It's important to have comments in there. If there's no comment in there, you would see that it's regarded as code, and then it would be tested and you would get an error. So it's important to put your comment, to hash it out, and then effectively it's a comment. So that's the next thing. Then what is further important is that, and everything is always important, is that you understand variables. So a variable is a certain name. So I can give a variable a fixed value, and it's assigned. And normally what happens that if I use a variable, I will assign a value to it at the beginning. I have to. So if I say x equals, if I don't want to give it a value, I say x equals 0, or I can go, if it is text, x equals any, and then that variable is assigned a specific name or a specific data type. We'll touch on the data types just now, but effectively what you would see is that all variables will have to be assigned first. That's an important aspect. So if you don't assign the variable and you run your program, it will tell you that it is that x hasn't been defined. So if I then go and put in x equals 0, which defines the variable, you can put in any value that you want to start off with. It would be working, and if I wanted to conform to that condition, you will see that it would be working again. So it's important that you understand that all variables must have an initial value. The second thing is it can also be empty, but then that means it's 0. I think what is also important is that you understand that variables need to conform to a specific naming convention. So it's case sensitive. So this x, which is a bigger variable, would be which is now caps. That and the other one is actually lowercase. Those would mean two different variables. They're not the same variable. So I can, if I put that uppercase x in there and I run it, what will I get? I will get any for x, the uppercase one, and if I put the lowercase value in, I will get again the lowercase value, which is an integer. So that is quite important that you understand that. We will deal with data types a little bit later, but it's important that you understand the variable names, that the names are that are consistent. You can actually put a underscore in there, and that would be also legal. A space would not work. So if you go my and then leave a space and then variable, it would not work. It would mean two different variables. Then I can assign multiple values. I can actually give a variable, all variables, the same value. So watch this one, where I can take 3 variables, x, y, and z, and effectively I can assign them in one line. And then x would equal orange, y would equal banana, and z would equal cherry. So if I then run the code, you would see that is exactly what it would be, that the variables would have separate would be individually assigned in one single line. So that's quite handy. But it's the same as doing, and I just want to clean this. It's exactly the same as when I go x equals banana and y equals apple. And if I print x and y, or x, and then print y, I would get the different names and see, there I get it, the different ones. Now I want to go and assign a variable all in one line individually. I go x, y equal watermelon and rice. So, and then I want to print them again individually, so you can see that it actually would still take the first value, assign it to x, the second value, assign it to y. And I run it, and there you see first and second value nicely assigned. So this line means the same as that line, effectively, when you assign variables. When I go back to my original lesson, and what you would find is that I can take my variables, I can print them, and then, but there's certain reserved words that I'm not allowed to define. I'm going to stop here because all of the other sessions would explain the next part, but this would get you going. Please install your choice of IDE so that we can go on from there. I'm gonna say goodbye and hope that you can just follow the first lesson and get that under the belt so that we can start with the next lesson. Thank you.